Alright, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nawafil Satria Ramadhan, and in this video, I'm going to do an interpretation of this video about missions, not majors, by Jehian, Panangian, Sijabat. Okay, welcome to my castle. Okay, I ask for your attention for a moment and pay attention to this picture, this man in front of us. Okay. So I'm gonna give you about 15 seconds to think about one word and analyze it. Okay? So it's not spontaneous. Analyze the picture here and think about what's happening on screen. So I'm gonna give you time. All right. So you have thought about what's happening on the screen behind me, and I will say a few phrases that if it's something that's in your mind, you can say yes in your heart. So when you look at this man is somewhere signature, right, in his campus, holding a balloon, meaning that he's celebrating something. Looking from his outfit, he's also wearing a ribbon with a balloon that says ST. All right, so if you guys pay attention and analyze, then you expect that this guy is an engineering guy who just finished on something, whether it's a thesis defense or a graduation schedule, etc. And yes, this is Jehian from 2014 to 2018. Jehian Panang Sijabat, Jehian Panangian Sijabat from aerospace technology major. So I begin my campus year at ITB as a kid from a prestigious major, and when I got in, I became one of the new students that's very thrilled to uh, do aerospace tech, or from my day it's called aeronautica and astronautica, which is a very difficult thing. Okay. But if you look at the next picture, this is me now. Technically not now since I still have my mustache and there's no mustache in front of you. Okay. So this is me and my talents. They are content creators of whom their names I have listed here. There's Karin, Hansol, Takuya, there's my own brother, his name is Jerome. There's Tomo, Tura, and so on and so on. So think again about the one thing when you look at this picture and compare it to Jehian in the previous picture. Maybe what you're thinking is in one of these words, Jehian Panangian Sijabat, the in the wrong major. From aerospace tech, suddenly working in a field that doesn't even correlate with his own major, that is being a content creator manager, and such as other words in your screen. Now, if we take a closer look, how could there be this kind of disparity between the first Jehian and the second Jehian? For example, the first Jehian wearing a toga and looking at his future, right? In a major that he chose when he entered the campus of his choosing, right? And next to it is Jehian, who's relaxing with the talents he's managing at his current job. What's one thing that becomes a red string from the picture to the current picture? What I will say is two words. It's a common phenomenon in Indonesia called salah jurusan. So when we're talking about jurusan in English, we call it a major. I was invited here to talk about major and stuff, and how we can overcome that feeling when we don't belong in that major. Now, what I want to do is a little survey. For everyone here that is still in college, please raise your hand. No cheating, right? And to everyone who feels like they're in the right major and really want to work in that field, may lower your hand. Okay, everyone can lower your hands. Okay. From your survey, 80% of college students in Indonesia felt that they are in the wrong major. And even now, I can see that everyone here is still unsure about working on the field that you choose. And this will be the topic of my TED Talk. We are going to talk about academic major. Now, what is academic major? If we translate it from Google website or Google ChatGPT, you will find answers like this. Yeah, it's a very long answer. Academic this and you learn this and that. You learn this, you learn A, you learn B, you get into major A in campus B, you get into this major because of your parents, etc. And that's academic major. But guys, by using the definition of academic major as something that we choose to dedicate our lives in that direction, just doesn't seem right. As we can see from those who raised their hands, is that even though we are already at this stage, we're still not sure whether or not to work in this field. That's why now I want to introduce to you a new concept, or rather something that I held to define what is a major and the field, or the field that you work on now. See it this way: school system is a commitment based time investment. So it's not about major A or major B, but about your time investment. Maybe for some of you, it's not just time, but also focus or money, money, financial, etc. You get what I mean? So, school system or an education system is an investment, whatever it is, right? Whether it's your parents that invest their money or you investing your time and energy to do something for the greater good. No. So, what differentiates this with you not getting into a school system is that we are introduced to an e- unique academic ecosystem. I underline the unique part because school system has a characteristic that is not really included in other educational ecosystem. For example, non-formal ecosystem that is not via schools or academia, like individual learning with Google or some other way. Even though it may seem non-formal, those still have their own unique academic ecosystem. Now, if we deep dive to the unique academic ecosystem, we'll be able to find that it is made out of a few things. First, the major that you choose, right? For example, you may choose mechanical engineering or economy or accounting, health, etc. But other than those, there are also some things that factor in what a unique academic ecosystem is. Things like the relationship between you and your teachers, your docent or those that teach you, right? Or the campus where you study with all of its facilities, the size of the building, the variety of convenience that you get by getting there, and the relationship that you build with your friends. So, a unique academic ecosystem is a combination of all this, not only about the major that we took, whether we take this or that, working on the semester credit of A, B, C, etc. And what makes this special is what we do and what we choose will determine the difference between you and those next to you. So when we get into college, we and those next to us follow an oriented path, like a assigned path. We do the same assignments, the same exams, maybe even the same subject, and in the same campus, of course. But what differentiates us from those around us when we graduate the difference in output is how we decide on whether to do these three things other than the major that we chose. So how we communicate with our teachers, how we build relation with our friends, how we maximize the use of facilities that are provided in the ecosystem, whatever we study. Right. So in the usual webinar or seminar, I'll use this roadmap and usually skip from this to that, etc., etc. But for now, I will explain in detail what it is that I actually do when I feel like I chose the wrong major and be where I am now. So when I was in college in the third semester, I got a quote that I use until now. So I will try to break it down for you all. So this is a quote from Francis of Assisi. Start by doing what's necessary, then do what's possible, and suddenly you're doing the impossible. We'll take three things from this quote that are these words I have colored. All right. So when we're talking about necessary, possible, and impossible, what do we mean by necessary? Right? How can I do the impossible and why I have to do the impossible? When we're in this educational ecosystem, especially when we chose the wrong major, Okay, so now there are three things on your screen. Right. So when I began my education in aerospace tech in ITB, I realized that it's a very linear major. Now, what I mean by linear is that when we enter aerospace tech in ITB, we'll be presented with a choice, right? Whether we should work in aerospace, like working in airport or aircraft factory, etc. But in my second year, I felt an enlightening experience of a startup world in Indonesia. How? So, when I was still in student orientation, when we go to campus, we have to take public transport. So, we remember if it's from Itebe to my dorm, we must take this color and at this time. If not, then it'll be full or they haven't arrived yet. So if we wake up even a little late, we'll have to go with a taxi bike. And when we have to eventually ask how much for the fare to go to Itebe, so it's like, oh, 10K, it's a little too expensive. How about 5K? All right, let's go, let's go. Now, when I get to my second year, I saw my juniors not having the same struggles of having to wait for transport to campus. They don't have to argue with the driver, but they can already get to campus using the app in their phone. Now, that is something very enlightening to me. That's when I realized that I can't escape from this ecosystem because there are already financial and time investment. So what I did was to go into this startup ecosystem instead by becoming an online taxi bike driver. So when we're presented with a problem, we often think that there are two things that we must do. One is necessary and one is possible. When feel that I want to get into the world of startup, I want to know what does it feel to be an online taxi driver, right? I can't just say to my parents like, "Oh, I want to drop out from my aerospace tech and try to go to a different major that's more connected to me." No. So because of that, I try to look for options. And what I mean is that I look for things that are possible for me to do. And at the time being, it was being a taxi driver. Then, when I know what it's like to be a taxi bike driver, I know that, oh, this is what it feels like on the startup world. So I'm trying to make my own startup ish in quotation. If we see the middle picture here, it's an edutech that I tried to make when I was in college with my brother to experience how it feels to make a product and sell it to a brand, and how we talk to investors, trying to fund things, etc., etc. And eventually, if we look at it now, I have my own brand, Mantap Corp and Menanti. Now, if we look at these three phases, in each of them, there's a possibility and impossibility. There are two spectrums here, so possible and impossible. We often think that when we chose the wrong major, or turns out I want to do something else but I can't yet, we often think that it's something impossible. I want to learn this, it's impossible. What is possible for me to do is this and be like this right now. Okay. So we sometimes look at something possible and impossible as something binary. It's either on or off. It's either possible or impossible, when actually, what I want to share to you guys right now is that possibility and impossibility moves dynamically with each other and are based on your growth and skills. Now, what does this mean? Let me show it to you like this. So we all start over here. We start from here, right? And eventually you'll be here. It's possible, right? And when we're at the edge between possible and impossible, what happens is that we're not only going to the impossible, but we'll grow our possibilities. When we grow, our possibilities also grow. What this means is that because our possibility grows, that's when the impossible also grows. So, so does your spectrum of impossibility, right? So you all see that the bigger the possibility, the bigger the impossibility. And so goes as we grow on and on. Okay. But we have to remember that we all start there, right? We started here. When I was still an online taxi bike driver, I started there. And when I finally understand the skills about startup and the other stuff, I can make my own startup, right? Build my own brand, and finally, I'm here. But this is an impossible position if I was still over there. Okay, so you get it now, right? So when I was in the position of being an online taxi bike driver, this was something very impossible for me. But when it goes on, as it goes on, it becomes possible, and the impossibility spectrum goes too. But we all start here. So we can be self aware with ourselves, right? To reach our possibilities and impossibilities. So please remember that we all start from here, from this to this. So when we're asked, did I really choose the wrong major? Am I currently in the wrong major? Then remember that a major is a system. You are an input. What determines the output are the system and the variables in the output and the input. So, what differentiates you from those with the same major, and what differentiates you from those who felt they are in the wrong major, is when you are able to be at the right target. So, expand your possibilities and achieve the impossible. Thank you. All right, that will be all from my interpretation. Thank you so much for watching. It's been Nawafil Satria Ramadhan. Once again, I want to apologize that my camera is not on because I do not have one. So that will be all. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.